Hello and welcome to CS264 Software Design. This is lecture 12, lesson 2. And in this lesson, I'm going to talk to you about visual paradigm and creating UML diagrams using this wonderful piece of software. It's design software. It allows you to generate class diagrams, among other things, but for now, we're just going to focus on some class diagrams. The beauty of this particular tool is that it also allows you to generate the source code, and in our case, C# source code, directly from the diagrams. I mentioned in class that there were tools that did this for you, and up until now we saw about plant UML, for example, which was a human readable language that we could use to specify the diagram components and how they're connected, and we could see how we could get from C#, and so how we could get from C# to UML by using other tools and so forth, but not the other way around. So now we're going to do that in this particular lesson. It's a short lesson. So I've downloaded a tool and I've installed a tool and I have it running here. And if I click through, I've worked through some of the menu items already just to get a new class diagram ready to go. So in order to generate a class diagram, let's find one that we know already. So I would recommend we start looking at this particular class diagram from Rachel Appel's article online on creating UML diagrams using plant UML. Just so that we have some consistency. We saw, for example, how to generate this diagram using plant UML. This generated it. And we did this in the last lesson, and we were able to generate, so we can generate some code directly from this as well. What we want to do now maybe is see, can we replicate this particular diagram in visual paradigm? So I'm going to move this across so we can see the window a little bit easier. Let's pull this back again. There's this web page. Okay. And let's see if we can have visual paradigm here. Pull it across, and I'm not seeing we have an extra window here. That's why. Okay, so here we go. So I can generate a class. You can see that we have all the various tools and elements that we need in order to be able to generate class diagrams here. So we start with classes. So we want to have a class that we'll call person. Okay, so that's not too bad. Person. I just dragged and dropped it. One called employee, which will, and that's our employee class. We have student. Let's create a student. And we've created student. Let's put these in line a little bit maybe. And we've final one, professor. So let's take this one and place it underneath this one here and call it professor. Okay, so maybe a little bit of alignment going on here. Let's see how this works. Okay, so now we're interested in generalization. So we know that employee is a subclass of person. So we click on our generalization object here, and we can see we have this. We can move this a little bit. We do it again for this class here, which was the student actually. And now we'll have the professor as well here. Generalization. And now, so this is fine. So we can move these around and we can do what we want with them. We can align them, we can move everything here. It all looks a little bit nice. And we have lots of control over the way we want these things to look. We can take person, for example, and make it larger. If we want it, we can just, let's just get rid of that. Everything a little bit. We can just grab one of these points and make them bigger so we can see what's happening here. Okay, so we notice that there are some attributes here, and they're protected attributes. They've got a diamond. Let's add an attribute. So we can add an attribute, and the attribute will be ID. And we have a second one called name, and we have a third one called age. And we don't want this one, so we'll finish this. So not quite there yet. We can see that the visibility is private here, and we want it to be protected. So if we click on ID, that's in here, right click, and we can open the specification and see what we can see. So we can see the visibility is private here. We can make it protected as well. Okay, and we can actually the type of string, so we can change the type here to be string. So that's nice as well. We apply this. And we can see now we have a protected ID type string. We can do the same with name. We'll just do this once. We can see how it works. And then, in fact, we'll leave this for now, okay? And we'll just, don't want to spend too long, but we see we have a method here. So we can add a method to student. So we'll add two specifications. We'll add an attribute first, and we say it's grade. And it's okay, and we're interested in changing this one to be an int as well. We can make that an int, and that's enough. It's going to be private. We'll just make this a little bit bigger so we can see what's happening here. And now we'll add another specification, but this time we're going to add an operation. Okay. And the operation we can see is update grade. Update grade. You can see we have them here, and it's visible as well. So we can continue and we can have this. So this is everything we need. So this diagram looks something similar to the one we have here, and we can change it as we like. So what I'm interested in doing now with this is generating the code. So there's a nice option here under the Tools menu, Code, and we click on here, we can see we can generate Java, C++ code, but we want C#. So if we move into Instant Generator, and then I'm going to change it to C# here. So I'm looking at C#, and I'm interested in exporting this. Okay, so the output path, we choose the output path to be here, a visual paradigm subdirectory that I've created for the lessons, and I'm going to copy this class diagram. So I'm taking everything, and you can see I've taken everything here, and I'm going to click the button Generate. I'm finished, and I'm done. So it tells me I'm done. So let's have a look and see if we can see the code. So let's go to Visual Studio Code, and we can see that I've created I've created a visual paradigm has created all of the classes. So we have employee, and we can see that employee extends person. We have person, and we can see some of the protected private attributes here as well. When we didn't give any details here, well, did we give it? What did we give details? We didn't say these were strings, but by default it took them as strings. You set up all the defaults, professor and student. So here we are, and we can see the method is here, and it's been set up to show that it's not implemented when it's executed. It just throws an error. So we're good, and that's really everything we wanted to be able to do. And you could actually take this piece of code, if you like, here, and we could perhaps go to our command palette, and we could convert this to UML, and we could have a look at plant UML, visual paradigm, and we can see we've all of the examples here that was been created and automatically first by this C# to PUML converter, and we can look at this one. Let's do this. Let's get rid of this. We want to view command palette and have a look at preview the current. Let's do it here, and you can see that we have an employee and person, and that's very similar to the one that we had in visual paradigm here, and also the one that we had here. Okay, employee and person. Okay, so you can do all of these fun things, and with visual paradigm you can generate code and you can model, and then we can generate C# code, and we can generate plant UML from the C# code, and we come back to the UML again, so full circle. And I said before, this is a really useful exercise in terms of starting with a design, either building our own design or writing some code, then generating the UML from that code, and then comparing it with the original design and seeing if we actually understand what's happening here in that process. So it's like engineering and reverse engineering. Okay, we leave it there. Thank you very much for watching.